It is of the hour of around 10:12. We are ready to start our Jobs Committee meeting for Friday, December 17th, 2021. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Davis. Iqbal.
Iqbal present.
Kopi. Lewis. Molina.
Molina present.
Wallace.
Wallace present.
Shepro. Ford.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I get approval for the minutes of November 12th?
Wallace motion.
Molina seconds.
Moved by Wallace, second by Molina. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Roll call.
Iqbal.
Iqbal, yes.
Kopi. Lewis. Molina.
Molina, yes.
Wallace. Ford.
Sorry, Wallace, yes.
Ford.
Ford, yes.
Passes.
All right. We're gonna go out of order for a moment. We're gonna go ahead and do our executive session.
Mr. Chairman, what's the purpose of the executive session?
The purpose of executive session, I'm sorry, is for reviewing of closed minutes.
You need a motion or a second?
Yeah, I need a motion and a second.
So moved. Mo Iqbal moves.
Molina will second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. Roll call, please. You didn't have a vote yet? Not yet.
Davis. Iqbal.
Iqbal, yes, present.
Kopi. Lewis. Molina.
Molina, yes.
Wallace.
Wallace, yes.
Ford.
Ford, yes.
All right, you're in open session.
All right.
Iqbal.
Iqbal, present.
Kopi. Lewis.
Lewis present.
Molina.
Molina present.
Wallace.
Present.
Ford.
Ford, present.
Shepro somewhat belatedly present.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving right along from our communication reinvestment workforce division. Do we have a financial presentation? I don't.
Good morning. Yes, we do. This is Maria. How are you?
No,
Hello?
morning, how you doing?
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. I
hear you.
wasn't sure if you could hear me. I do have the financial information ready to present. On page 2 of your packet, you will see the memo that I've provided. Page 3, you will see the executive summary financial report for the Wioa 20 grant. That grant does end on June 30th of 2022. We have until then to convert all of our accruals and remaining obligations into the actual expenditures. What I did notice again this month is that the direct training benchmark requirement dropped to below 50% at 48.8%. This is directly related to the amount of new staff that was onboarded at the start of this program year. And the current team having to pull time away to get them up to speed, to train them. So this did have an effect on our direct training activity. I informed the program team as soon as I saw this happen, and they have already updated me to let me know that training activity is picking up. The new team members are catching on rather quickly, so they are a little bit more grounded within their positions and are able to move forward. So I'm excited to see this percentage increase as the months go on. Our youth funds are getting closer to being spent within this carry-in grant. There's still a little bit more work to do within the adult and dislocated worker funds. We still have quite a bit of funds to work with there. And the work-based learning percentage for the youth continues to be over the 20% requirement, which is at 27%. Page 4 of your packet is the similar fashion report for the Wioa 21 grant. That grant started on July 1st of 2021, and this is the first year of the 2-year cycle. And within this first year, we do have to show the state that we have accounted for the actual expenditures and obligations reporting of up to 80% of this grant funding. And while our main focus is still to hurry up and finish spending down the carry-in grant, we really have to focus as well equally on ensuring that we are on track to meet the required benchmarks come June 30th. We are monitoring that. If you see in the middle portion of your report where it says obligations, to the right-hand side, the little graph that says projections, obligations, accrual, and expense breakdown. Here, this represents the expenditure plan that was approved, our current trend spending, and what we project is going to occur. And what you see here is the adult and dislocated. If the trend continues as is, we will fall short. The youth funds are okay. Program, again, has been made aware of this. We are getting together here in the next couple of weeks to start brainstorming to figure out what we can do collectively to ensure that we hit these benchmarks. Other than that, that's all. The remaining pages in your packet is the detailed report for our accounts payable for the month. Any questions?
You have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All right, thank you. So seeing none, we're gonna move on to Jobs Committee priorities.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, this year we wanted to try something a little different. Usually in December, we start reviewing our last year, but we've accomplished a lot this year. And with the economy moving and changing as much as it has in the last 12 months, I thought it'd be a little prudent to start planning for next year's jobs committees now. We really want to focus on the topics we want to cover, but also the speakers that we're looking to have come cover those topics. Before I open it up to the committee, I do want to mention that we're looking at March of this year for our Economic Development Roundtable. We do have a potential speaker in mind to have at Jobs Committee for that meeting, and then to come speak to our constituents and partners. And a lot of our partners are looking forward to coming to the roundtable to discuss the local issues that are affecting their communities. So we are making note to have that. So we're setting it for March of 2022. So that's the hard date. But with that, I also just wanted to briefly cover some of the topics that we've covered this year, so we can think a little bit about what we want to see next year from the committee. This year, we did highlight adult use cannabis careers and programs through Abansi Community College, the Kane County Sheriff's Office and their recidivism reduction programs and job training programs, which they announced today, by the way, that they've saved another $2.1 million in addition to the $1.6 million they saved last year through their programs and reduced recidivism and incarceration. So not only are they creating jobs, but they're saving money. We had Elgin Development Group come in and speak. We also had the Elgin Community College Small Business Development Center come in and speak. We had Roger Fonstock talk about fiber internet for Kane County. In the fall, we did issues affecting employees and employers. And then in October, we covered our manufacturing month and manufacturing highlights here in the county. So with that, I'd like to hand it back over to you, Ron, and kind of start the discussion on what you'd like to see in the coming year for the Jobs Committee.
All right, thank you. At this point, we are looking to have an open discussion to talk about what we see, what direction we want the Jobs Committee to go into, any subjects that are of interest. And also, we have our strong points of what happened in the community economically, but any voids that we need to take a look at that we can try to work on to fulfill any of the other voids. I don't want to start off first. I want to hear whatever everyone else have to say. So I'm opening up the floor.
Hi, this is Melina. I can go first if you want.
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay, so one of the things I thought would be interesting to look at for 2022 is how, because of COVID, a lot of people had to pivot their employment, and a lot of people ended up doing kind of what their side jobs were or their gig jobs as their main focus because of the loss of their full-time employment. I mentioned to Chris last month the Batavia pop-up shops that happened. That's been happening for the last few years, but a lot of people there have been able to start their pop-up shops in Batavia because of what they're able to do there, and then open up their real shops. So I thought that would be an interesting thing to highlight next year, sort of that view of the economic spectrum in Kane County.
Okay.
So this is Lewis. If I can piggyback right off of what Myrna said. I was thinking kind of the same thing. If we could kind of discuss like how jobs, careers are changing, and also how our businesses have had to change and adapt, and what kind of education things are we going to have to change in the future. I think we all know that COVID has changed the way businesses are run, the way we do things. So much more of it is Zoom, online, work from home things. And I think it's really important that as a jobs committee, we get on top of that and we make sure that our workforce is ready, willing, and able to adapt to this new environment we're about to go into.
Mr. Chair, this is Corinne Pirog calling, speaking.
Go ahead.
Good morning. To follow up on all of that, if we may, I would certainly enjoy hearing about the need for our continued union labor, whether it be carpenters, plumbers, and also on the technical fields of computers, the installation, digital development. Those are going to be continued job needs of the future. We all need good roofers. We would all be in a very sorry state of affairs if we didn't have a plumber. So that would be of great interest. And those jobs, I believe, may be growing, and they are certainly being paid a livable wage. So that would be exciting to hear, in my opinion.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Lewis, again, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
I think it would also be kind of interesting to talk to our education people, our schools, to find out what they're seeing. Are they seeing more of their high school kids wanting to go into trades? And is there programs that we can help support to help those schools as they, get those kids? I know welding programs have become amazing. And, along with photography and culinary and all sorts of things that the high schools are helping do. And I would kind of be interested to hear what the high schools are saying, as opposed to, and even what kind of programs are they helping kids get into for college. Is it more, traditional career, psychology, teaching, nursing, or is it, more of these trades? And then what can we do to help support those things?
Mr. Ford, can
Go
I
right-
make a
No,
comment?
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was reading an article yesterday, and we know we have a growing rich Hispanic population in Kane County. And one of their major concerns going forward is the economy. So I believe that if we could talk to perhaps the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and have them present what they feel the needs are of that growing business community, that would be quite targeted for us, because as we know, as we all lift each other up. And if we can support, to Ms. Molina's point, the growth of small businesses, the growth of independent entrepreneurs, which many Hispanics I know walking her district, that they are small business owner. Sometimes they struggle, sometimes they thrive. But we want them all to thrive to the best capacity they can. So that would be very interesting to hear, and something that I believe that we could support.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, this is Mo Iqbal. I have no input from my own side, but I will suggest one thing, that we invite the mayors of our big 5 cities to come and let us know what they think are the constraint on job growth. I'm from Elgin, and I know from Elgin mayor, he has spoken so many times, that it's not the jobs, it's the workers shortage in this area. That's what prevents companies to move in. So if we can directly hear from them or from the Chamber of Commerce, I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then the one thing I wanted to bring up is a couple of them. One is technology, and taking a look at, and this might go in with what we talked about with changing the job careers that Lois sprung up, is there are incubators out there where that people are being able to create their own jobs at these different locations. And either they're working from home or they're working for one of these incubators sites, and see how that progress is and how strong those jobs are, and how long they actually last. Are there something they get into for a while? And like Molina said, if people are taking what they were doing for side jobs, and this now has become their main career, and where those jobs are at and what type of jobs. I think that I'm finding out they got a lot to do with our workforce not being up to par. People are finding new ways to make a living without getting up and leaving home and going to work. The other part, I actually met with some of the union reps, and what we talked about was not just apprenticeship programs that's out there, but also we talked about trying to find pre-apprenticeship programs. I know there is some talk about there may be some things in the making, and just on Tuesday night, I met a young lady who I'm gonna reach out to that was working on some pre-apprenticeship programs. Times have changed how people get into the trades. They're not getting introduced to the trades like they were before from dad or uncle or someone in the neighborhood. And they're not learning what tools are and how they work, and not starting off working with their hands. So therefore, they don't grow an interest into the trade until probably close to 30 years old, or maybe even after 30. And at that point, they're harder to train or lose interest in training, because just the basics, they don't they don't get a chance to learn at an early age. I believe we still need to look at transportation. We had a nice report from Metro, and there were some things there that interest me that may help to be introduced to workers and businesses on how people can get back and forth to work. And you guys helped me out with this one. I think there was a program that they was calling where they starting to trying to use Uber or instead of having the bus going from Aurora to Elgin, it can be a ways it can be on call. So if somebody got to work from a longer distance. The challenge was if people were living in Kane County or living out of Kane County, working in Kane County. Seems that might be a challenge. The other part is I still believe we need to find out from the workforce, are people who staying home, daycare issues. I still think that's a big one. And when we talk about apprenticeship programs or even pre-apprenticeship programs, it's out there that we don't think much of. Visiting the House of Glass, I can't remember the proper name of it, in Aurora on that, it taught me that there are other type of apprenticeship programs that could be out there. Different arts we're working on with glass and go ahead. I thought somebody was saying something. So those are the ones that I wanted to bring forth. So I don't know, anyone else had anything else they want to bring forward?
So Louis again, please.
Sure, go ahead.
Were we, and maybe I don't know, maybe I haven't had enough coffee this morning, but were we talking about like kind of changing the name away from jobs to more of a economic outlook or economic impact kind of committee? Where, you know, because jobs kind of says that's all we care about, but really we're caring more about, like you said, transportation, daycare. How is the world of the way we do our business changing?
I have not thought about that, the actually change of names of the committee.
Okay.
We are trying to expand our thoughts that relates to jobs,
Right.
because jobs has a lot involved in getting a job, qualifying for a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just broadening our scope, I guess, is what I'm.
Right. But if our Madam Chair got any thoughts on that?
Hi.
Anything else?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
feel just as clumsy as most of you do when you're at home. Where's the button to turn the mic?
And every computer is different.
Where's that darn button? I've often thought about that because the impact upon our workforce is so challenging. You're absolutely right, Anita, that it does affect transportation. Ron, you're absolutely correct. What is introduced to you at an early age by a teacher or by a mentor may influence your career choices as you go forward. If you're introduced to it at when you're even in junior high school, that is shown by math. if a girl, there's always disparity with math. If a young girl is introduced to math at an early age and encouraged to participate in it, they will oftentimes continue that skill into math and sciences when they get into high school and to college. And that trajectory has been proven. So I love what you're saying. And perhaps just a little tweak to the name, jobs and economic development. Because daycare is part of that, transportation's part of that, mentorship is part of that. Good health is all part of that. Food is part of that. So it's not isolated. And opportunities, as far as we're looking at an economic development council, and that'll be up for the board's consideration. Whether or not you want to support that is, will be your decision, but that will be taking a look at what manufacturing or job area developments hubs will be focused on Kane County, and then how do we develop those hubs. So it's a fascinating topic, and one I think that is worth further conversation.
All right, thank you.
Chairman Ford, this is Molina. One more thing I wanted to mention and
Sure.
remind everybody. Originally, when this committee was formed, there was an emphasis that we wanted to place on veterans and connecting, especially veterans who had left from the Iraq and Afghanistan war to resources and jobs. So I think one of the things we might want to do this year is maybe do a month where we focus on different opportunities for training that are directed towards our veterans.
I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's a good thought.
Anyone else?
So Lewis again.
Go ahead.
This is a little off base, but I was thinking back on what you had said before about not exposing our children, and I heard somebody say yesterday that their kids had wanted the latest video game thing, and the father, and they had pleaded with the dad to get it, and the dad didn't get it for them, and instead at Christmas time, he gave them hammers, and he kind of things that we grew up using, and he did that because he wanted his children to understand, and he would do woodworking projects with them, but he wanted them to get that feel for what it's like to work with your hands, and we've lost so much of that. We set our kids down in front of video games all day long. They don't get a chance to go out and garden or, hammer and nail and stuff like that. And I think at some point we kind of need to get back to that too, which is a little off base for the Jobs Committee, but it made me think about what you said.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Alan.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I'm not on your committee, but I just wanted to weigh in. I got the idea when this committee was formed was that the emphasis was to be on trying to get people jobs, as network better, let people know that we're there and so on. But I always thought there should be an economic development piece of the title also. I remember there was conversation that the communities, the cities had their economic development departments or their outreach. And so the idea was that we would network with them. We wouldn't try and replace them. We would just try and join hands with them. And so keeping economic development out of the title meant that we weren't trying to go into competition with them, but instead we would just work with them. And I'm not sure that's an entirely suitable reason for keeping economic development out of the title of your committee. It's such a wide-ranging responsibility that I would think the more things we can put under the umbrella, the better, rather than the fewer. That's just me butting into your committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Other thing I want to add to make sure that we continue to work with our sheriff department on what he's trying to accomplish and how we can assist him in his programs, along with what we hear from the Workforce Development Board and getting an understanding of what direction that they're being directed to by the state and how we can be an assistance. All right, if there's nothing else, we're gonna move forward. I think there's a great discussion, a lot of great ideas. I don't think that Chris will have any problem making a full schedule for next year with that. I just want to thank everybody for your participation in that and being here to express it. With that, we're gonna move forward to any update on the Kane County Economic Development Initiative.
Good morning. This is Mark Van Kerkhoff. I'm just happy to report and give an update on the progress of the reinvigorated regional initiative, really being led by CMAP at this point, along with our other Keller counties and more involvement from the city of Chicago. They did put out a request for proposals and accepted and have signed a contract with a consultant who's going to do a regional economic development study and strategy recommendations for the region, including looking at other regions as well. They've also brought in the Brookings Institute, who did some work in the region for us previously, looking at foreign direct investment and some other topics, but they're going to be looking specifically at how this regional effort can target sort of through the equity and inclusion lens and help the entire region for everybody to enjoy the prosperity that the region would like to see achieved and to do things better. So happy to answer any questions about that, but we'll keep you informed. Chris and I participated in kind of an initial meet and greet with the consultants, but they'll be doing more work with us as they proceed in their work over the next 3 to 4 months. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to step back for one moment, just one subject I'm going to bring up, and that is looking at how we can assist with the needs within our health atmosphere, that health careers. I know with what has happened with COVID, that people are being burnt out, and I don't think we have the training schools around like we used to. I know there was one that was in North Aurora, I believe on Lincoln Avenue for a while. It was a nursing school or some type of assistant school in medical field. So I think those, I wouldn't mind having some research done behind that, what's out there, where they're at. And I don't know what Wabansi is doing these days, or I don't know if Aurora University has anything, or Elgin Community College, and seeing what's happening with those positions. Any other questions or comments with the economic development initiatives? All right, seeing none. I don't think we have any new business. Any public comments? Unanimous motion to put our reports placed on file, to have our reports placed on file. Can I get a motion?
Request unanimous consent. Wallace.
Second, Lewis.
All right. No opposition? Seeing none? We already had our our executive session. So therefore, motion to adjourn?
Wallace motion.
Lewis,
Is that a unanimous
second.
motion? Lewis second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.